when you're ready to close a deal, if you think of everyone as a turtle in their shell with the nuclear arsenal up and pointed at you, the first thing that you're going to have to do is you're going to have to get them out of that shell. Because outside the shell, they're very fragile. Outside the shell, almost anything can happen. Outside the shell. Inside the shell, you're not going to be able to penetrate them. You're not going to be able to get beyond the conscious to the subconscious mind. So you've got to get in that shell. So how are you going to get inside their turtle shell? Well, when you start to talk about bon voyage, the first thing that you're going to need to do is you're going to need to bombard that shell. You're going to need to send your mortars in and make a hole in the shell so that you can penetrate a little bit and you can get in there and get that shell off or do some damage. So what is that penetration? That penetration comes initially from what's called a wow statement. Now, what is a wow statement? A wow statement, it is a statement that stops people dead in their tracks. It's a statement that makes people immediately focused on you and immediately wanting to know what it is that you do or what it is that you're talking about. Now, a wow statement can be done a number of different ways. You can do a wow statement, and we've had 2 or 3 seminars on wow statements where we've had a whole hour of what wow statements are and how to use them and how to perfect them and so forth. But a wow statement could be something like, if I could show you how you can stay at a 4 Seasons hotel for 8 days and 7 nights in a presidential suite, which is a 2-bedroom suite with a fireplace and a jacuzzi. If I could show you how you could stay there for $250 for the entire week, not a day, is that something you would have an interest in, or is that something that you would like to find out about? Now, most people, if they're vacation people, most people, if they know what a 4 Seasons hotel is and recognize it's a 5-star resort, most people will say to you, yeah, I'd like to find out how you do that. How do you do that? Or if you're talking about a 5-star resort in Las Vegas or in Fiji or in Hawaii, okay, if you go to someone and say, I could put you on the sand in Hawaii, in a Wyndham resort, in a 2-bedroom condo, for $200 for the week or $500 for the week, whatever it might be. Do you have an interest in that? Do you take vacations? If I could show you how to vacation for less than half of what you've ever paid before, no matter where you stay, and stay in a 4 or 5-star resort, is that something you have an interest in? You see, what happens is, if the wow statement coming from that direction is powerful enough, and you can find one that fits you, or you find one that helps or works with you, okay, and you connect on people immediately. The objective of a wow statement is to slow them up, to get them stopped, to get them interested in what you're going to say next. If your wow statement is too weak, if your wow statement isn't powerful enough, people keep going. Or maybe they stop, but if the wow statement wasn't strong enough, they're just not that interested in what you're going to say next. They don't really care. But if it's powerful, if it's well thought out, if it's delivered with the proper intensity, if you have direct eye contact and you speak with absolute conviction, and they see that you speak the truth, and the wow statement is beyond just being interesting to them, is something they're very curious about, you're ready now to go to the next step. Now, a lot of people say, well, when do you bring up a wow statement, or how do you bring it up? Well, it doesn't have to be a wow statement about your product. Your wow statement could be about you. You could have, and we've gone over this on beginnings or approaches, Getting into a wow statement a lot of times will turn an initial conversation directly around to putting a person in your wheelhouse to close them. What am I talking about? Many times you'll find yourself in a conversation where you've just been introduced to someone, male or female, by a friend, and 3 or 4 minutes into the conversation, you will ask that person, usually, well, Joe, what is it that you do? And then Joe will commence to telling you what it is that he does. And if you're smart, you'll listen. You won't interrupt. You'll egg him on. You'll have him tell you more. You'll nod back and forth. You'll try to get him to talk as much as you can about himself because that's his favorite subject. While he's talking, you're going to pepper him with his own name. So, Joe, how long have you actually worked there? Okay. So, Joe, does your wife work too? Does she work with you? So are you the boss there, Joe? There's nothing a person likes to hear more than their own name. So, in this setting, while you're listening to him intently, and you're nodding, and you're using his first name, in this setting, he is becoming increasingly obligated to you subconsciously, and he don't even know it. You see, you now are bringing him into a zone where he feels obliged to spend some time with you now. Quality time, because you're spending quality time with him. It's a subconscious thing. It happens subliminally, but it happens each and every time that we meet someone. So, here's what's going to happen next. What's going to happen next is he is going to tell you, what's going to happen next is he's going to say to you, well, JJ, what is it that you do? After you've listened to him for 5 or 10 or 15 or 20 minutes, he's now going to come to you and say, what is it that you do? Well, now, as we've discussed on other webinars, we have 30 or 40 different comebacks, don't we? Each one of our comebacks is a wow statement. Each one of our comebacks don't say, well, I'm a fireman, I'm a policeman, I'm in sales, I sell insurance, I sell real estate. All of those people that answer like that, all of those people miss a golden opportunity to make a sale. All of those people, when somebody asks them what they do and they respond by telling that person what they do, those people have missed a golden opportunity to create a wow statement and an impact on the tortoise shell to get beyond that turtle shell. So, what do you do? One of my favorites, as a lot of you know, I tell people I'm in show business. And then I stop. JJ, what do you do? Oh, I'm in show business. And then I insert a pregnant pause. And then they'll look at me, and their wife will look at me, and then they'll say, oh, really? They're trying to figure out if they've ever seen me in a movie somewhere. And then the next thing I say is I say, that's right, I'm in show business. If I show you my business, you'll quit your business and you'll do mine. Now, they'll laugh, and so will I. But guess what's happened? Now it's not a question of, they don't have a casual interest in what I do. You see, if I would have just told them what I did, they'd say, oh, I see, no big deal, and then went on about life. By saying that, by saying what I said, they now really know, they really want to know what I do right now. They really do. Oh, really? So what is it that you do? Or if somebody says, well, JJ, what do you do? I'm a business opportunity broker. I broker home-based businesses that show folks how to make over $100,000 a year from home. And I am swamped, and I need help. Do you know anybody that's currently looking for work? They can't get back to me fast enough. Yeah, my spouse is. Yeah, I am. Yeah, I'd like to do something part-time. Yeah, I'm looking for work. I don't make $100,000 a year. Okay? I'm a business opportunity broker. These are very powerful comeback statements. They're wow statements. We're not talking about the product at all yet, are we? We're just talking about you. JJ, what do you do? I show people how they can make in 1 month what they normally make in a year. And I need help. Business is growing faster than I expected it to. Anyone that you know that's looking for a business right now, I would really appreciate it if you would give them my number. Well, what do you do, man? Tell me, how's that work? What kind of business does that? Or is this one of those multi-level things, or is this a pyramid? You're going to get all sorts of different responses to that. The fact is, I don't care what you choose or use as a wow statement, but it has to be powerful enough to punch them in the nose. So they have to stop their gait. They have to stop their walk. They have to stop and pay attention to you. If your wow statements are good, especially if you're new in the business, you know, we have almost 3,000 people, 2,800 people in the last 2.5 years that have made $1,000 in our company the day they joined in their first 24 hours. That's not by accident. That's by design. They picked up the phone and made 50 phone calls or 25 phone calls or 10 phone calls and got 6 people to join. Those 6 people made them $1,000. They were focused, they were committed, and they had a wow statement because they themselves were still 4 feet off the floor when they joined. So find a wow statement, something that fits with your personality, something you can say with conviction, direct eye contact, enthusiasm, and excitement, so that when they see it, they feel instantly what you feel inside, and they want to know more. Don't miss out on an opportunity to really, really make a magnificent income this year, simply because you start your conversations off the wrong way, like everybody else who makes 20, 30, 40, 50 grand a year. Now, next is initial benefit statement, IBS. You got to tell them initially exactly what it is that you're able to do for them. Well, Mr. Jones, I represent Bon Voyage Elite. Bon Voyage Elite is the largest global consolidator in the world of high-end properties. In over 200 countries, we have over 200,000 4- and 5-star resorts that make it possible for our private members in our private club to vacation there from 60, 70, 80, and in some cases 90% less than what it's possible for them to go and stay in on a normal rack rate. Our members vacation for pennies on the dollar, without question. We are the best kept secret in the vacation industry and have been for almost 30 years. So now all of a sudden, they want to know, what? Are you kidding? I don't understand. What do you do? So the initial benefit statement follows in behind the wow statement. And the initial benefit statement carries them to the next generation. Now, in the core business message, now we're telling them exactly who we are, what we do. In our core business message, that's when we're going to take them to the website. That's when we're going to show them the documentation on the website. Once they see that, they understand where they're able to go, how they make the reservations. They now have to have a reason to believe. It all looks good, but how do we do it? What's the logics behind it? How does this car go down the street? Well, it's this engine. It's this combustion engine. Let me show you how this works. In Bon Voyage, we have to explain to them the contracts that we have with the hotels and why a hotel owner would sign these contracts and the money that it means to them. As soon as it all makes sense from a financial viewpoint, now you have people that are very much interested in moving forward. Now, the next phase is vision. And nobody's ever going to buy anything from you, ever, unless they can see themselves in their mind's eye, playing on a projector on the screen inside their subconscious. If they can see themselves and their family using your product, you have to put them inside the condo, inside the hotel, in the bungalow, in the suite. You have to do this. They have to see themselves enjoying that jacuzzi as a wife and a husband at the end of the day. They have to see their kids on a water slide at a very expensive resort. They have to see it in their mind's eye. At the same time, they have to see the price of $400 or $500, something that they can financially easily afford. $500 is a long way from $5,000. If they can't see it, they can't believe it. They can't believe it. They can't buy it. And they won't. They go there in their mind, they're going to go there in their body. The body will manifest what the mind harbors always. Now, by hand delivering third-party credibility, this is when you tell them about your vacation or where you went or what you did. If not your vacation, somebody that you know that's vacationed with us. We've got thousands and thousands of people that have taken vacations with Bon Voyage in the last 3 years. Find some. Get their stories. Where'd they go? What'd they do? What was there? What was the room like? Okay? These are very, very important. Take them and show them pictures on the website of what these rooms look like. Show them BV1000 Travel Center. Go in there, go to book a condo, show them the outside of these resorts, show them the insides of these resorts. You should have 5 or 10 favorites that you have inside our inventory that you bring people to all the time, so they can see how magnificent these rooms are. They can see where these hotels are. That's important that they have third-party credibility. People are always going to have different objections. They're going to have different questions. The reality is that's what we say, and it's part of a system. But the reality is people usually have the same questions, the same objections. So when you answer those early on, it makes your 20-minute, 15-minute presentation go that much faster. You know what their questions are going to be. You know what the answers are. So simply answer what those questions are going to be before they bother to ask them. It speeds the process along. That's why the more you go out and get your nose bloody and the more rejection that you get, the more sales that you make over time. The biggest problem most salespeople have, and we've done entire seminars on it, is never assuming the sale. They never assume, and because they never assume, they never ask. And because they never ask, they never get an opportunity to sign them up and walk them through the paperwork online. If you don't ever assume the sale, you're never going to make over 30, 40 grand a year. But as soon as you start to assume the sale each and every time and ask people to buy 4 or 5 times each and every time, you're always going to make over $100,000 a year. Talk to anybody who makes $100,000 a year. They'll tell you that this is the one key ingredient that you have to have in your menu of success if you want to clear 6 digits a year. You assume every sale and you ask for the deal every single time. If you assume every sale and you ask again and you ask again and you ask again and you don't fall prey to the stall, you never let anybody stall you out. Now, for those of you that are new and don't know what that means, you never let anybody say to you, can you call me back tonight at around 7? Let me talk to my wife about this. Oh, you know what? This looks very interesting to me. Can you get back with me after the weekend? Oh, let me look at your website. Maybe watch that video you were talking about and I'll call you back in a couple hours. Or, gosh, this looks great. I'll have this money maybe in the fall. In the fall, it's not $2,500. It's $200. So remember, this is not a big decision for anyone to make. It's a couple of $100 that's going to save them thousands. That $2,600 will save them $26,000 probably in the next 10 years or less. It'll save them $26,000. Okay, so don't let them make a mistake that's bad for them. Make sure that they understand the consequences of saying no to you. Don't be afraid to do a takeaway. When somebody asks me, listen, do me a favor, JJ, this looks really, really good, man. You know, I have 4 kids, dude. This looks great to me. Call me on Monday. You know, we're probably going to do this. No, he's not. If I was actually enough of a sap to say, oh, okay, I'll call you, is 10 good? Great, I'll call you then. If I was actually a beginner, if I was still a freshman in high school, and I still bought into that nonsense, that's exactly what I would say. Call you at 10 o'clock on Monday. You have a great weekend. Drive careful going home. Okay? That's what losers say. Okay? Because I assure you, when you call him on Monday, he will have forgotten every single thing that you guys have just shared together. The last 15, 20, 30 minutes of time that you've spent together, that you've spent bubbling him and getting him ready. Do you think he's going to be in that same frame of mind when you call him at 10 o'clock on Monday? He'd be lucky if he remembers your name if he's not a good friend. Okay, and then when you say, oh, yeah, this is Bon Voyage. Oh, yeah, you know what? Let me think about that. I haven't talked to my wife. Call me tonight at 7. And they'll string you along for a week. You haven't got that ton of time. Okay, losers play that game. People that are never successful in anything play that game. That cannot be you who play that game. Somebody says to me, wow, this looks really good. When he uses the word good, he's sold. Oh, this sounds really good. If it looks good or it sounds good, that person is already sold. Take it away from them and they'll come and get it. Okay? Take it away from them like a 5-year-old. You take a candy away from a 5-year-old, he'll follow you across the room to try to get it back. Customers are the same way. If he says to you, call me on Saturday or Monday, we'll do that. Hey, Joey, I can't call you on Monday, dude. I got 60, 70 people I got to call on Monday. I'm going down through my list. I'm contacting everybody once. I don't have time to come back to anybody. You have no idea how busy I am, man. I'm swamped more than 3 freaking people. I can't call you back. Okay, if it looks good, let's get it. Let's get it right now. It's going to take you a few minutes. Got your credit card on you. Whatever, let's get it done. But I'm not calling you on Monday. You only have one way to get into this, and that's through a member. I'm a member. You can't go to a website and sign up later. That's why why you think I'm so busy making all these calls. If you like it, let's go with it. If not, I just don't have the time, man. But at least you know about it. Take it away. Snatch it back. Figure out a way to say it that you're comfortable with, but snatch it back. Absolutely don't let this guy think you're going to get him back to him on Monday. Because on Monday, he's just going to tell you no. So if he says to you something like, this sounds really good, or this looks really good, he's audio or he's visual. If he says this looks really good, that means in his mind he sees things in pictures. That means he's already seen him and his family using your product. That means he's already bought. You just don't ask for the sale the right way. If he says to you, this sounds really good, then in his mind he thinks in sounds, and he's already put himself in the picture, and he's done it in sounds, but he's already bought. The only word that you have to be aware of is interesting. If he says to you, this sounds really interesting, that person's not sold. You need to go back and start all over again. It's only a 10-minute pitch. You can do that with Bon Voyage. You can't do that with 2-hour presentations. Somebody says to you at the end of a 2-hour presentation, well, this is really interesting, JJ. Let me mull it over a bit. All right, that guy's done. Now I have to decide. Do I want to pack up and leave, or do I want to start my 2-hour presentation all over again? Okay, so understand. And some of you were on the webinar where we talked about the Harvard studies on different things involving sales. A 40-year research study at Harvard spanning all kinds of sales professions, from real estate to insurance, time sharing, car sales, to you name it. 40 years. A 40-year Harvard study research revealed that 96% of the time a stall is used, a sale is not made. Now, that's not my numbers. That's Harvard's. And it's not something they did for a month or two or a year. That was a Harvard study that lasted over 40 years. And that study was printed up in Forbes. It was printed in the Wall Street Journal at the time. It was in the New York Times, several different things. This was going back about 10 years or so. But the fact is, that's a real study with a real conclusion. And the numbers are irrefutable. And if you're in sales, it's a study that should mean something to you. 40 years. 96, that means 4% of the time that you call somebody back tonight at 7, tomorrow morning, after the weekend, after they talk to their wife, after they hug a tree in their backyard, whatever their excuse is, only 4% of the time that person's going to buy from you. So think about that. Would you jump out of an airplane if you had a 4% chance that your chute was going to open? Some people live their entire sales life based on those screwed up logics. They live their entire sales life with that stupid mentality of, okay, I'll get back to you after you've done everything right for the last 15, 20, 30 minutes to make certain this person totally understands, is on board, and says it looks good. They're sold. You need to ask for the deal now. And if he doesn't want to buy now, you need to ask him again. Give him another reason to buy again. If he says no, you need to give him another reason to buy again. This is not a difficult decision. It's not an expensive decision. It's not a decision that's going to change his life where he's got to worry about paying for a house every month. This is $260. This is something he'd spend on a new suit of clothes or a new pantsuit for a woman, or a pair of shoes, or a night out, or 2 concert tickets, or whatever. It's not a lot of money. So don't let him take it someplace where he needs to take it, where it is a lot of money. Don't ever get yourself thrown into the I'll be back. Okay? Stalls are for horses. They're not for people, especially successful sales people. Now, once you close and get the money, get them signed up, whether you're signing them up on credit card or you're signing them up online and they're making deposits, or they're signing them up on an internet bank like Liberty Reserve or whatever, make certain that they go back in to their website after you've set them up, and they accept the payments, or they make sure that they solidify their program so that you get paid. Now, then you have to train them. You got to tell them about these Saturday trainings. You got to tell them about the Monday and Tuesday webinars. And you have to get them the more knowledge that they have. I've said this many times. To bring somebody into Bon Voyage who becomes an independent business owner that's wanting to work the business and make the money, and then not train them, that's like buying a dog and not feeding it. How long do you think it's going to be before that dog either walks away, goes away, or dies? It makes as much sense to buy a dog and not feed it as to bring somebody on and not train them what to do and how to do it to be successful. Think about it. If you're not making an extra $1,000 or $2,000, $3,000 a month right now, and you have in your downline right now 20 or 30 or 40 people who you haven't bothered to train, and you're wondering why they're not making any money, and you're wondering why you're not getting any override, you don't look downline, you look in the mirror. Okay, it's not their fault, it's your fault. You weren't grateful. There is no gratitude. Without the proper gratitude, you don't have the proper attitude. Okay, it's the way the universe works. You should be grateful that they signed up, but even more so, you should be grateful that they have the willingness and want to learn. And if they do, they will. And when they do, they'll be better. And when they're better, they'll get great. You get somebody who makes 50 grand this year, you just made $25,000. You get somebody that really excels at this business and does 100,000, you're going to make a minimum of $35,000 to $50,000 off that one person. What if you had 10 of them? What if you had 30? See, that's possible in this business. It's not possible in a lot of other businesses. You get somebody in this business and they get their money back in the first day or two, they're locked in for life. They know 6 people. Could be their brother, their sister, their parents, their children. They know 6 people that would buy Bon Voyage immediately for $260. Get their money back. They pay $295, get their money back. Sign up 3 people, they got $500. They got their money back, they put $200 in their pocket. Wow, they like this business. They may have finally found a home. Okay, you can get their money back in 72 hours. If you can draw first blood in 72 hours, you're going to get yourself somebody that's, if you train them, it's going to be with you for the next 2 or 3 years, making you money every single month. Do your first 15 together. Don't be afraid to do conference calls, okay? And go to the bank. Go to the bank. You should be in the habit of requesting money every day or every other day from your back office, because every day or every other day you have money back there to request. Every day or every other day you have money back there to request. It's simple. We've had 2,800 plus people make $1,000 in their first 24 hours. That's not knowing nothing. That's just them going off excitement of being in it themselves and looking forward to taking vacations that they haven't even taken themselves yet. They're signing up from pure adrenaline and excitement and like, you know, a 5-year-old waiting for Santa Claus. Okay? That excitement, that enthusiasm was enough to bring them into 6 sales in their first day and put $1,000 in their pocket. And it can do the same for you today, tomorrow, the next day. It's just an easy thing to do. But you have to have your head right to get it done. You have to have a powerful wow statement. You have to have an initial benefit statement that lays it out for them so they want to know more. The core business message to explain it in its entirety, but then you've got to get them to a reason to believe why it's happening. They got to see themselves using it. Then you have to deliver. You got to get them to the website that they actually see it's real. You handle all of the questions before the questions are asked, and then you ask them to buy. It's just that simple. Don't complicate this business or any sales business. You see, if you do just what the pyramid here has shown you to do, guess what happens? They're out of their shell. They're fragile. They're exposed to the world, the heat, the cold, anything that comes. Well, guess what's going to come? It's going to be us. We're going to come over to them, their turtle without their shell. We're going to pick them up. We're going to keep them warm. And we're going to do something that's really, really going to benefit them and their family. We're going to get them to spend quality time and enjoy life while they have life. What a fantastic gift this is to people. And if you believe that, they'll believe it when you say it to them. And they'll respond in kind. How to close a deal. Now, I wanted to talk to you about something that most people are not aware of, but it's there every day. And if you learn how to manipulate it, and you learn how to, control it in the right way, it can be one of your most powerful allies. Reticular activating system. What is it? How does it work? Well, very simply, it's the part of the brain that filters out everything that is not important to you and allows you to focus on what is. Unfortunately, we have trained this part of the brain with nothing but bad habits most of the time. Your reticular activating system is hugely important in goal setting. This is because goals are not just things written on paper. When goals are set, it causes your neurological system to change and to start guiding you towards succeeding with your goal. Here's the problem. A lot of times this system is trained to focus on things that are not important. But because it don't know the difference between good and bad, it don't know the difference between important and not important, it simply trains itself to focus on what you're telling it subconsciously is important. So your brain is kind of like a computer. It's very, very programmable. It cannot detect what's positive and what's negative in a thought process. So it's in neutral at all times until you give it a direction to go. And then whatever direction you give it to go is the direction it's going to go in. Here's the problem. We are really good at beating ourselves up. We are so good at negative stinking thinking all the time. And because the subconscious is always there, it's omnipresent, it's always there, it's everywhere, what we have our RAS system focused on are the negative things. And we focus on negative things so often and so prolonged during the course of the day. Unfortunately, what happens is it automatically turns it into a habit. Let's always focus on negative. And guess what? Now that's all our behaviors reflect. What you have to understand is that we can program this in the direction that we need to program it. The reticular activating system interprets the world to us and triggers our responses in kind. People that are passive and negative, their love belief systems are all on autopilot. They're not living, but they live their life being lived by the articulating system. Here's what's happened. It's been programmed to gravitate always toward the negative of every single idea. Okay? It filters out positive thoughts. It dumps them. It dumps them as being not relevant to what it considers to be relevant, which is the negative thoughts, which is what you've focused on in your life so much that you've trained this thing to do the same. You're more comfortable with negative thoughts than you are with positive thoughts. Part of changing that is understanding that. And as soon as you understand that, you can start to turn things over to the universe and start to focus on, in the thoughts that are happening in your brain right now, you focus on the thoughts that are positive. Have you ever been driving along in a car and been playing with your phone or something else and realized that you've been playing with your phone for 5 minutes? 5 minutes. And you haven't looked at the road for 5 minutes? Why were you not killed? Why were you not in an accident? Okay? Or you've been daydreaming. Let's say you wasn't playing with your phone, but you've been daydreaming. You were completely somewhere else in your head, and you were having vivid dreams, vivid emotions. This is what you had. And then all of a sudden you come back to yourself and you have presence of mind as to the fact that, hey, oh my God, I'm driving. Okay? Guess what brought you back? What brought you back was your articulating system. And the reason it brought you back is you were going a little bit off course, or there was a car slowing down in front of you or whatever. But for that 5 minutes that you had no idea you were driving, your RAS system was observing everything around you and saw everything around you to be normal. So you did not need to focus on it. So you didn't focus on it. The second that something in your driving became out of normal, that became something that was not the norm, and your reticulating system is focusing on what that is, like a car coming down the wrong direction on the street, it's going to bring you back immediately to the present. It's going to take you from wherever you are and say, hey, dude, you need to focus on this. This guy's coming down the wrong side of the street. Okay? It's like that in life, in everything we do. In everything we do, it will bring it back to you. Another instance is, let's say that you're in the market for a brand new car. And you never thought about buying a Lexus, but your friend has one or your brother has one, and he says, you should get a convertible Lexus. They're wonderful cars. You can afford it. Have you ever thought about that? And no, you wanted to buy a Porsche, or you wanted to buy a Pontiac, or you wanted to buy a Ford or something. You never even thought about Lexuses. You never ever noticed them on the street. But from the moment your brother said that, you went to a Lexus dealership and you test drove it. Did you ever notice now that you've programmed your RAS system? Did you notice that for the next week or 2 weeks, that every time one of these cars went by, no matter what color it was in, you noticed it for the first time in your life going by on the other side of the street? Because there's an importance that's been added to that, you see. It's the same is true if you're out fishing somewhere. You know, you can daydream if you're fishing the whole time, but the second that there's something that you need to be aware of, your brain's going to bring you back. It's going to say, hey, dude, there's an alligator behind you. Okay? Just a heads up. Well, that just a heads up comes from your RAS system. What you need to know is that you have a system like this that's operating in your brain at all times. What you need to know is if you don't have the life that you want to live right now, it's because you have programmed this with negative thought patterns. You're focusing on all the wrong things right now. You need to be focusing on things that are positive. You need to be focusing on things that's going to bring you closer to your goals. You now know that we can change the structure of our brains by observing our own thoughts. And by observing our own thoughts, you're going to train your RAS system to focus only on positive thoughts, only on things that bring you towards your goal, only on things that make you successful. See, if you do it long enough, if you stay focused long enough, you're going to create a brand new habit to replace the bad habit that you've had for the last 20 years, 30 years, 50 years. And this is how you do it. You become aware. You become self-aware that it's going on first. And if you can become self-aware that it's going on first, then you have no problem, none, at changing and replacing the habit with a better habit. Now, there's just 3 steps to turning your life around. The first is you got to get disgusted with the way it is right now. You know, it's like the movie Network where the guy goes to the window and says, I'm mad as hell and I'm not going to take it anymore, okay? The day you're done living a life of mediocrity, okay, when that day comes, when you've had enough and you declare it, it says, I'm done, that's the day it starts. When you're just so disgusted with the way it is, disgusted with your house, disgusted with your car, disgusted with the school that your kids have to go to, disgusted with your job, you've got to get to that point from the lowest of low where you say, that's it. I'm changing it. I'm changing myself. I'm changing my thinking. You've got to fall in love with yourself. You know, you've got to be a person that's every time you look or walk by the mirror, how you doing? Good looking today. How you feeling today? You feel great today. You've got to tell yourself all the time. Fake it till you make it. But you've got to be constantly powered and pushed by positivity every hour of every day. And you got to get so disgusted with your current life that you've got to make a change. The next thing that happens after you get disgusted is you have to make a decision. Nothing in life happens until a decision is made. And the second that that decision is made, the whole universe opens up. And at the second that that decision is made, the universe and all the powers therein come to help you accomplish whatever it is, the new marching orders that you now have in your mind. The universe helps you achieve them because you've made a decision. It changes everything in your life. It means that you've stopped. You've stopped walking into your favorite restaurant and ordering a bowl of crybaby soup. You've stopped whining. You've stopped saying, oh, poor me, I don't have the money, I don't have the smarts, I don't have the education, I don't have this, I don't have that. You start with where you're at with what you got. That's where you start. It starts with a decision. Now, third, you've got to have a burning desire to make it so. You must want it so bad that that's all you do. Because once you make it an emotional desire that is going to trigger something deep inside you that makes it and brings it to fruition and it brings it to life. You see, if you just say something to somebody, that's like taking a pin that you sew your shirt together with and throwing it at someone. That's what words are. But when you attach emotional intensity to those same words, that's like taking a crowbar and tying it to that pen and now throw it again. Because now you're going to knock that person down. And if you hit him in the head with the crowbar, you're going to put him in the hospital. That's what a burning desire with emotional intensity is. It changes everything. And it changes, more specifically, your impact on you and your impact on everybody else. But it comes from that emotional attachment to the desire of the life that you want to see for yourself and the life that you want to have. And it's done through what's called a servo mechanism. Now, what's a servo mechanism? Servo mechanism is a military term. If I wanted to send a 20-ton nuclear bomb over to you, I would shoot that bomb off in a missile, and that missile is going to fly over to whatever country you're is to try to blow you up. Well, on the way over there, that 3,000 miles that we're traveling at 4,500 miles an hour, on the way over there, a very simple, tiny little device called a servo mechanism is the gyroscope that keeps that missile on course. If that missile wants to go 3 or 4 degrees to the left, that servo mechanism brings them right. If it wants to go 5 or 6 degrees to the right, it brings them right back to the center. It's going to keep you on course. Your servo mechanism now, beginning today, is to understand that you have to be monitoring the thoughts that you have. Every day, the thoughts that you have every day have got to be positive to everything that you want to try to accomplish and everything that you do. Don't gravitate toward your default thought mechanism of negative, of this is not going to happen. Oh, he's not going to buy. Oh, they won't be interested. Oh, I'm going to call them later. Anything that can be construed even remotely to be negative in any way, shape, or form, you should have an immediate servo mechanism bringing you back to positive. What would be the positive side of that? Okay, I'm going to do the positive side of that. If you can do that for the next 30 days, you'll be a completely different person at the end of that 30 days. The beautiful part about it is, at the end of 30 days is enough to create brand new habits. You live the rest of your life that way. Unless something traumatic happens to bring you back, but you could literally live the rest of your life that way, as a happy-go-lucky, powered, pushed by positivity all the time. It can be done. The servo, but your mechanism has got to be set toward positive. It's got to be set for you as being a success at all times if you're going to be successful. See, the law of attraction has a lot of things that can help you. When you're in a fear-based place, like many people are, it's a place where you're always, oh gosh, everything around me is scary. I'm going to die. I don't have any money for this. I don't have any money. When you're in that area in your brain, guess what? None of your intentions or desires have much power. That's why you never see them manifest. Because you're coming from the wrong place. You're talking to the universe in Greek. You're talking to the universe. And if you're from Greece, I didn't mean anything by that. I'm just saying you're talking to the universe in a language that they do not understand. Okay? They just don't understand it. You don't have any power. The intentions of things that you want for your life, nobody understands the language that you're speaking when you come from them from some place of want, some place of weakness. But the second that you drop these limiting beliefs and all this shallowness that's within you, you find a core piece, and in that core piece you find out who you are. At that point, what's supposed to happen for you, what's meant to happen, starts to happen. Because we're all meant to be successful. We just get lost. Okay? When you're not moving toward your destiny and you start moving away from it for the first time, you feel it internally. There's a trigger that goes off. When you put desperate energy out into the world, you never get back what you want. Ever. Ever. You're never going to get it back. Desperate energy is what most people put out, by the way. 90% of the people, they desperately need to do this. They desperately need to do that. They desperately need this kind of money. They desperately need to do that. It's all desperate energy. It's not possible energy. It's not positive energy. I'm thankful I'm alive. I'm thankful I'm healthy. I'm thankful I articulate well. I'm thankful I can read a book and go to a movie this afternoon. Thankful I'm living in a free country. That gratitude that you give to the universe and that you put out there, that gratitude comes back to you in tenfold. If you don't believe that you deserve to prosper, you will not prosper. See, you're always co-creating with the universe, everything around you. So if you're putting out an energy that you don't deserve it, the universe makes it so. As human beings, we are fundamentally all energy fields. Everything is based on energy. And it's aligning your energy with that which you want to attract is what gets that which you want to attract and puts it under your feet as your house, or puts it in the garage as your car. But you've got to start aligning. If you start to do all of these things and combine it with a wonderful product that we have, wow. I'll tell you, things in life change. You can't live as a mouse your whole life, okay? See, a lot of people, they don't know how to do it right. Bum walks up to Warren Buffett on the street and asks for a quarter. That's how you go through life. That's how many people go through life. They ask for a quarter. Okay, you're going to get back out of life whatever you ask for. You have to be a mouse. You see, inside all of us, okay, inside all of us is a lion. And it's that lion that all of us have internally that you need to start poking with the stick, and you need to wake that lion up. And once that lion wakes up and comes to the surface, a completely different person. Everywhere you go, you're different. Every person that meets you knows you're different. And more importantly, you know you're different. When a lion walks into a room, you don't have to roar. Everybody in that room knows it's a lion. So, life will pay you any price you ask for it. Don't be the bum walking up and asking for a quarter. Walk up and ask for $1 million. Warren Buffett can afford it. Okay? Don't see the glass as half full or half empty. See the glass overflowing in your life with everything that you do. Because guess what? In life, you get what you ask for. It's just like when you're doing a deal. You're only going to get a deal if you ask for the deal. That's always the way it's going to be. Remember that. You're not a mouse. You're a lion. And the sooner you start believing it, the sooner it starts to manifest in every part of your life. I want to thank everybody for being on the call today. I hope, it's my sincerest wish, that you go out today and in all the fun things that you're planning on doing today, talk about Bon Voyage. Start to change things, the thinking processes that you have for the positive. And watch what happens. Do it for the next 7 days and just watch what happens. You'll become a completely different person within 30 days, I assure you. Thank you all for being on the call. Bon voyage. Have a great and profitable next week. Goodbye, everyone.